Okay, we're back for part 2 of 2 parts of this podcast. And we have that man, the Gazelle, who is standing for reform in Warrington North. He is our hero of the moment. Say hello, sir.
Well, thank you for that introduction, Jonathan. Yes, you're correct.
What, hero?
I am your hero.
Okay, all right. I don't know whether you're Stats hero or not. Stats has got a few questions and a few comments to make about the Reform Manifesto, and that's what we're going to be talking about. So you better be good, sir. You better know what you're on about, because Stats man will absolutely nail you, because he knows. He's got eyes like the proverbial something house rat. Where these figures are concerned.
Well, I just want to add to that, though, what I just said earlier on. I mean, I am only going to put out my favourite policies tonight. And if I was in Labour, I would be your hero, and I would also be your heroine.
Oh, Statsman, come in there.
Do you know what? As heroes go, I'll take the Gazelle.
Oh, hey.
At least he's honest.
You're my top man.
Just need to get him a better outfit.
I know.
That dressing gown.
That dressing gown just doesn't do it for us. I'm telling you.
Stick a cape on, mate.
Batman.
Do it.
Cape on? What's a cape on? Cape on's a vegetable, isn't it?
No, cape on is a chicken.
That's right. Yeah,
light
blue
cape. It's like a vegetable.
But a chicken is like a vegetable. Get out of here. And we want to vote this guy in to be MP in Warrington North. It doesn't know the difference between a chicken and a vegetable.
He's still talking more sense than Keir Starmer doesn't know what a woman is.
Yeah.
Or any of his party doesn't know.
Yeah, tell him, Mark. Tell him.
Yeah. He knows what a man is, though, apparently.
Yeah, I bet he does.
Confused.
Well,
did you see the pictures with him with Jimmy Savile? Now then, behave.
Yeah, I remember someone said Jim will fix it once. Now Labour are going to fix it. Uh-oh.
Right. Let me give you a brief of your policies. I'm sure you know every single one of them in detail, and you could actually quote it, chapter and verse. They're going to slash government waste. The economy, they're going to deal with it, the personal and the business. They're going to deal with immigration. They're going to deal with the NHS, energy, environment, policing, justice, education, benefits, Brexit. They're going to do everything. I think that these guys are the second coming as far as this manifesto is coming, because it literally says they're going to deal with everything: defence, veterans, housing, children and families, transport and infrastructure, agriculture, fisheries, pensions and social care, constitutional reform, reclaiming Britain, and funding our plans, which is their expression of saying, we are telling the truth and we know how we're going to fund it. You're wagging your finger at me. Come on.
And that's in the first 100 days.
100 days. My God. It's like you're the political version of, like sort of so many loaves and so many fish. I'm telling you. Come on. You're wagging your finger at me. All right. How many loaves and fish have you got? Go ahead.
And that is only my portfolio.
Mark, please interject some common sense into this. What are we talking about here?
You know, they must have been listening to us, I think, Reform for the last few years, to be honest. Now, I've made some notes. Well, compared to the other manifestos, there's a lot more. And I thought, I'll go down and I'll highlight some stuff I like. Blow my neck, I'm on 28 of them already.
Jesus.
I'll be honest, if he can even get half of this done, I'll be really impressed.
In 100 days of government?
In 100 years of government, to be honest. But it's what everyone wants to hear, though, isn't it? This is what I said before. Just tell people what they want to hear. So I've highlighted a few. Say a few. All right. Freezing immigration, obviously.
Yeah.
That's a no-brainer. Do you know what? Half of these are just expected. The expectations. But abolish net zero, obviously. But that'll save a lot of money, won't it?
35 billion.
Yeah. Defend British values. Well, that's a given, isn't it? I can't believe none of the other parties have even mentioned any of these things.
Yeah, I haven't mentioned it. There is a very, very serious point, and just to interject, and please don't lose your smart, but they've said, and they're the only party that have noticed this, that the Bank of England must stop paying interest to commercial banks on quantitative easing reserves.
Correct. I've got that highlighted
Oh,
too.
brilliant. Well, carry on then with that stat. I'm
So
sorry.
where was I up to? I'll come back to that one in a minute. There was a big no to the World Health Organization's pandemic treaty.
Good.
That's good. Oh, they want to get rid of that centralized digital currency. Oh, we've banged on about that. That's excellent. Scrap the Equality Act. Now I am happy.
Yes!
But you're really going to need a majority in Parliament for that. Free speech bill. God, these are things we should have anyway, but yeah. And I like this one. St. George, just a little nugget, but a holiday on St. George's Day, bank holiday. I like that. And this is the one that is going to, I'm safe to say that after he's announced this, watch what happens to Farage. I'll give it not long until he's linked to Russia, Russian spies, lawfare starts on.
You're right. It's happening. It's happening right now.
This is why, because a Westminster anti-corruption unit. Ooh, good luck with that one, mate. Good old shut shop. And then the little things like turn the boats back, obviously. Bar people who came via a safe country. Makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah. Deport foreign criminals. Oh, these are just like the standard things we should be doing. But like you said, that Bank of England one's a big one, because until we get a grip of the Bank of England, they have literally got us by the ghoulies.
They said other central banks throughout the world are not doing this. They're not paying interest to commercial banks. Now, I know a lot of people won't understand this, but what it is your money is being used to line the pockets of commercial banks in this country. And what we're talking about is...
Never.
Yeah, well, we're talking about, when you say commercial banks, we're talking about, the four. We're talking about Lloyd's, we're talking about Barclays, we're talking about HSBC, and what's the other one? I can't remember. Go ahead.
And who are they owned by?
Yes.
America.
Right.
They're owned by a conglomerates of Americans and world banks. They're not British banks.
Well, they've said that if the other bank was RBS, if they said that if we stop paying interest, they're going to save between 30 and 40 billion per year, which I agree with, because the banks are absolutely ripping the hell out of the people of this country, and it's their money. Go ahead, Trevor.
They're taking taxpayers' money in interest. There's actually a clue in the title here. The Bank of England.
Yeah.
And they're not lending the government of England tax-free money. Right, that's one. I lost my track then. And I've lost my track now.
Oh, yeah, you lost your track. Are you like Thomas the Tank Engine?
No, I'm more like HSB. They've lost their track.
Well, the truth of the matter is that the Bank of England buys up the debt, okay? And basically, the debt, any of the debts incur interest. And when they sell those debts, they sell the bonds. And then the banks, the commercial banks, buy those bonds. And that's how they earn the interest. So that's where they get the interest from, because they're investing in the Bank of England. Now, that's your money, Mark's money, that's my money.
Exactly.
We're actually the real creditors. So say, for example, when we go to sign a mortgage or get a loan, where's the money coming from? Do you actually know that the bank that you're borrowing from actually has that money? Now, listen carefully now. What you're doing is, when you actually buy that loan, you are actually the creditor, because you are giving that bank the authority to actually assign numbers, and it could be on a piece of paper, to that account. But you're actually entitled to that money as a member of the United Kingdom. And that's one of the things that they want to expose. And they want to actually do it in a soft way by saying, stop the Bank of England giving interest to the banks, because they're giving away your money. That's what they're doing. Go ahead, Trevor.
Right. Many, many years ago, I've said this 1,000 times, that all these figures in these banks are all digital.
Yeah.
The liquid assets of all major banks, whether it's Australia, America, Great Britain, They are digital figures. The actual liquid assets, you can check it. I've gone through it all. You're around about 4%.
Yeah.
Right? 96% is digital. And this was endorsed and shown when we, in 2008, had a run on, remember Northern Rock?
Yeah.
When they had a run
they
on the
didn't have the
banks,
reserves to cover it.
when they had the run on the banks and they said, that's my money, I'm getting my £2,000 out times 1 million. They didn't have that money. It's digital. They don't have the money. And this happened in Greece. When will people wake up? This happened in Greece. I was talking to somebody.
Why did you think that America revolted against England? They refused to actually adhere to the fiscal rules of the Bank of England. They would not adhere to it. And then what happened is they got their own version of it, which was the Fed. And literally, the Americans are being ripped off left, right, and center. But anyway, go ahead.
I was talking to a customer of mine who was very affluent. And she said, that won't happen because that money is our money. If I've got £200,000 in the banks, I can draw out that £200,000. You can't. And I'll tell you why. In Greece went bankrupt.
Yep.
And when it went bankrupt just after 2008, the maximum withdrawal per day, if you had £100 million in the bank, it doesn't matter. Yep. You can only draw out €50, whoever you are. Yep. Well, obviously, unless you're a politician, that's different.
Yeah, because their balance sheets were empty. They didn't have cash flow.
They don't have liquid assets.
Yeah.
People don't realise this. Well, you better wake up and do realise it. Because if you think you've got £100,000 in the bank and you're filthy rich, you're not.
You're not. Okay, well, the other thing is they have, on the personal economy scale, they have critical reforms needed in that first 100 days. Are you listening? To make work pay. Lift the income tax start point to 20,000 per year. Mark,
excellent.
What do you think about that?
Very good. Do you know what? There's a lot. I think what they've done with this is they've found the remedy for all the problems. Now, I'm yet to go into detail and look at how they're going to accomplish all this because this is one mean feat. But it seems like there's a little bit in here for everyone, isn't there? And that's really going to help a lot of people, that is, who are on, low wages.
But it's also going to spark off an increase in the economy because if they've got more money, they're going to spend it.
Yeah, well, there's some good things on the economy. So you set the threshold. They're going to cut energy tax. How they're going to do that, I don't know. Scrap the VAT on energy bills. Same with stamp duty. They're going to abolish inheritance tax for houses under 2 million.
Yeah.
That's really good. You can't see anyone arguing with that at all. There's even stuff for small businesses. They want to simplify the tax system.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good stuff
21,000 pages. And they want to get it down to something like about 500. What about the biggie? The one that nobody wants to talk about. The one that the Gazelle will talk about. Immigration. Uncontrolled mass immigration, they state, has pushed Britain to breaking point. A record 1.25 million immigrants entered the UK in 2022. That's the equivalent of a city the size of Birmingham. And data is expected to show a similar number arrived in 2023 and probably 2024. So that's almost 14 million people will arrive in the UK between 2021 and 2036.
See, Farage said there was one person coming in every minute. Now, the BBC fact-checked him and found out he was correct. Now, I fact-checked him and found out he was incorrect. My sum says 2.2.
More?
Mm-hmm. I'll do it again later, just to make sure. Because I thought, that can't be right. And I did it. I went, whoa. It's more than what he thought.
Well, their answer to that is to freeze non-essential immigration, stop the boats with a 6-point plan, secure detention for all asylum seekers, immediate deportation for foreign criminals because we don't know who we're bringing in. And they've just allowed these people in. I mean, you can't even get a job in a school without an enhanced DBS certificate. And yet they're allowing these people to come in and they're employing them in our healthcare system.
I see there's some stuff in here which is actually now encouraging employers to employ people from our country.
Yeah.
You can see where this is all going. It's really good. I mean, if you look at law and order as well, literally get rid of the whole of the police, the leadership, start again. Zero tolerance, no woke, common sense.
Yeah.
And this is the best one, the depoliticisation of the College of Policing.
Yes.
And justice reform.
Absolutely.
Sentencing reviews. Change the definition of a hate crime and build new detention places. All this is going in the right way. This is probably the groundwork for what needs to happen. But it's a massive job, this.
Well, there's one problem. There's a fly in the ointment, and that's what everybody's attacking Reform UK for, and that is the NHS. Trevor, explain to us what it is that Nigel's trying to say about the NHS, because I don't think he's trying to take away health requirements or need at the point of need. What he's trying to do is he's trying to ease the pressure on the system. Is that right?
Look, you're throwing 1,000 questions at me there. We could run this podcast tonight. I could be here for 3 hours. On Saturday, we did an action day, and we ended up, I was speaking from 12, I swear to you, I was speaking from 12 o'clock till 2 o'clock. I had 2 to 3 people lined up asking me these questions. Going back to the NHS. Oh, well, you know, you're going to privatise the NHS. You're going to do... No. Get it clear. Never once has anybody ever suggested privatising the NHS.
That's right. They said that healthcare must remain reform, free at the point of use.
It will always be free at the point of use. All they're suggesting is that if people can afford, and they'll give you the tax concession on this to help you with it.
Yeah.
If you've got, I don't know. I don't want to figure.
If you've got the money to pay for the treatment that you need.
If you've got the money to pay for it, yes, thank you, Jonathan. If you've got the money to pay for it, then why not allow people to do that? Why not give them a tax incentive to do that? Because all that does is that takes the pressure off the NHS. What's wrong with that? You're not privatising the NHS. 1,000 things I can say here. And about immigration, right? I can only talk about Warrington. Warrington, I stood in 2015. It needs to be addressed.
Go ahead, Stats.
There was a few good things for the NHS, actually. There was zero basic tax for the staff for 3 years. That should encourage some of them and maybe start getting them back into employment. The tax relief for private insurance, Trevor mentioned. And to cut A&E times, they're actually considering vouchers for private healthcare if you've not been seen by a doctor within 3 days.
There you go.
Again, but where's the money coming from this? But it's a good idea.
It's a good idea. That's what's needed right now, ideas, because it definitely is not working. Go ahead, Trevor.
Right. These are my favourite policies, right? Mark's just mentioned it there. Anybody who is coming back into frontline services, nurses, any medical staff, will not pay tax at the basic rate for 3 years. Is that their incentive? Wow, of course it is. What's happening in our country, as I've mentioned earlier on again, is a brain drain, right? Now, I'm passionate about this. I get annoyed about this. Now, what's happening at the minute is our students, our medical students and medical staff, don't get me wrong, everybody, right, is included in this. They train, they qualify, they flee. That's a fact. And that's your brain drain. That's what's happening in this country. They get the best medical training in the world. They qualify and then they flee. They go to other countries and they're left with about £70,000 or £100,000 debt, whatever it is in student fees. Reform, you will not pay any interest on those student fees. And if you stay within this system, within this country, Reform will pay off 10% per annum of your debt. Your debt will be wiped out in 10 years. And that retains all the staff that have qualified, all the medical staff within the NHS. Who else has brought that up?
None of them. You've actually hit on something which is part of the manifesto on education, right? So they've said that the critical reforms are to ban transgender ideology in primary and secondary schools. I know that that's going to go down well with Stats because that's one of his pet hates about what's going on.
Well, it's gender identity ideology, but yeah, it's got to go, and that's something we've been trying to do. But we will look like we were getting there under this fake conservative government, possibly, but now it's just it's up in the air, isn't it?
Ban critical race theory because it causes division.
It does. We've also got queer theory as well, and obviously we've just mentioned gender theory.
Indeed. And to scrap the interest on student loans. Now, who isn't going to like that? Tell me. Who isn't going to go for that?
I tell you what, I actually really like the bit on education because they want a patriotic curriculum.
Correct.
And what did I say a few weeks ago about the universities? If they're woke, no money for you guys. Well, that's it. Cut funding to woke universities too.
Absolutely. Now, a very contentious one, which is the benefit system. They say that the benefit system is broken. They are quoting that there are 5.3 million people in Britain on out-of-work benefits. Now, they're not stating what demographic they are, but I can guarantee you that a large demographic of those people on benefits will be Muslim. And I'm sorry, but I'm going to state it out. And if anybody wants to actually, if they want to attack me on that, well, then let's have the figures out. And let's get it from the Institute for Fiscal Studies.
It's all right. The Muslim Council of Britain released some figures a while back. I've got them if you need them.
Fair enough. Now, they want to make work pay. They want to start to motivate up to 2 million people and get them back to work. They want to enforce a 2-strike rule for job offers. Now, I'm not quite in favor of that one, right? Because it can be quite harsh in that respect. But they want face-to-face, not remote assessment for personal independence payments. That's a good point as far as I'm concerned. But what I am concerned about is their attitude towards mental health services. Because, as Mark quite rightly stated, when we had the lockdown, that created a lot of the issues that we're experiencing today with children and people on benefits. You know, children and parents on benefits, because it didn't really do them a lot of good during lockdown, and it didn't do them a lot of good with the education either. So, Mark, do you want to comment on that?
Well, as we know, there's a massive problem going on with special educational needs, and I don't see any of that in here, but
no.
Bit of a shame.
Well, they haven't commented on it.
But there's so much in here. I mean, you can forgive them for missing a couple of things. Like, it's like they're trying to fix everything all in one go, which is... Go on,
Sorry,
I was going to move on to Brexit, but go on.
Just one thing that sparked me off early on with what Jonathan says about the split in the community, the split in the country. It's politically created that we have this division in the country, that everybody's arguing Brexit, everything else, all sorts of issues, right? And what's happening with this Reform Manifesto is it's bringing people back together again. Yeah. And the establishment don't want that.
Do you know, Trev, all this stuff's common sense, and you can't really argue with the majority of it, and it fixes all the problems. Yet you go on Twitter into that echo chamber of morons, and all you still hear is fascist, fascist. Not one of them have ever read a book in their lives to even understand what fascism is. They haven't read this. They can't see what's in front of them. They just want to call people names because it makes them sound cool. I'm sick and flipping tired of them. Nearly swore then. People are putting this.
You swore, Stats.
No, look, I've said in the past, maybe Reform aren't ideal. Who is going to be ideal to fix this country? Probably won't be happy with anyone. But this, what I'm looking in front of me, is the closest we're going to get to fixing any of this mess.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've still got these morons who are just ideologically driven by calling people names. It just frustrates me. It gets in the way of actually fixing this mess.
Wipe out the left.
Send them to Rwanda, to be honest.
Yeah, and also, I'm absolutely sick of people like Hope Not Hate, which is really hate not hope. I think they should actually wipe that guy off the face of the earth, because he is just such a nuisance. I bet even the police are fed up of him as well. Go ahead.
Just one before Trev comes in. Look at all this, right? All these things, the remedy to fix all the problems. So look how many problems there are, right? All these people who've caused these problems, this is a crime. These people who've caused all this should be in jail.
Yeah.
Yet there's people out there calling people names who want to fix it. I just think it's disgusting.
Why would you want the same people that created the problem to fix it?
You don't. It's got to be a total cleansing.
Go ahead, Trevor.
Yeah, we had, again, at the Action Day on Saturday, we had a few of the ladies.
Did you see much action? We noticed that you were surrounded by a lot of ladies. A lot of ladies.
That's actually normally every Saturday, but I don't want to go into that. Now, we'll go back onto the point that what actually happened is we had the Action Day. Everything was fantastic. There was an entertainer in town, this busker, that was singing away, and he brought up Sweet Caroline. So a few of the ladies, they were starting to sing Sweet Caroline.
We're going to get a copyright strike on that now.
Yeah, don't stick it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Now you've mentioned that stats, right? So anyway, Sally put it up on our Warrington North, Trevor Nicholls Warrington North Reform page, which everybody's more than welcome to visit. And this video got over 7,000 views within a matter of hours. It was fun. It's shown us everybody's happy. There's no aggression. There's nothing. All the comments, brilliant, love it. Bring it on, ladies. Great, absolutely brilliant. And then there was that moron. Oh, here we've got sing-alonga racism. Sing-alonga racism. Sweet Caroline. You can't have a more patriotic song than that.
That's what it's associated with. I agree with you.
Trevor, these people are actually deluded, mate.
No, they're attention seekers, Mark. They're attention seekers.
Yeah, but you know what? It wouldn't be, you know what? We could mock and laugh at them if it wasn't serious. But this is actually really serious what's happening to this country. And the first people to come in and actually say, look, we're going to try and fix this. And all you get is racists, fascists, all these words that don't mean anything. No such thing as race.
Yeah, but it will mean something, Mark. Yeah. It will actually spark that thing. And that is what's happening. Nigel Farage stated the other day, something is happening.
I am
seeing that.
I just want to actually mention 3 more things. Number 1, defence. Reform actually want critical reforms in their first 100 days. They want to increase defence spending to 2.5% of national GDP by year 3, and then 3% within 6 years. Now, I've no doubt that that's going to make Donald Trump a very happy man. Well, because there's no doubt that he's going to get in. He's going to get another term. They want to introduce an urgent pay review for all the armed forces. He wants to introduce new armed forces justice bill to protect the servicemen and women on active duty, and a new dedicated ministerial department for veterans. Now that I like the sound of. Go ahead, Trevor.
Yeah, and I was actually talking to my next door neighbour earlier in the week about all this, and I said to her, defence needs painting. My fence is a mess at the minute, so it needs repainting. That's what it is. So I agree completely with Reform that my fence, defence needs, recoating.
Yeah, I'll tell you, you want to ring Ron Seal.
Yeah.
Have you got his number, Mark? Send that over.
Are we finding the Yellow Pages? Yellow Pages? Does that still exist?
And the last 2, pensions and social care. They actually want to commence a Royal Commission of Inquiry into social care provision. So they want somebody to actually really nail what's going on, because social care in this country has gone to such depths that people are actually really, really suffering. And we've seen it, and we're seeing it with special educational needs as well. It's wrong. We're not actually paying attention to the things that we really need to pay attention to. They want to stop the offshore taxpayer rip-off. Some larger care home providers are avoiding tax on hundreds of millions of profits through complex offshore property company structures and high interest shareholder loans. Now, we do understand that. And they're not paying tax on those loans that they're actually getting. And I have to say, they pretty much nailed the financial side of their policies, because even though people don't understand what they're actually saying, it's actually doing a lot of good by bringing it up, just to actually mention them and get it into the people's minds. Go ahead, Stats.
Can we just sneak Brexit in there quick? So they're going to scrap the Windsor framework. Brilliant, because we went through that months ago, and that's garbage, isn't it? Well, obviously, the regulations have got to go. Independent armed forces, get away from the EU, and renegotiate a trade deal. So basically, starting the whole Brexit thing again.
I think we should join BRICS.
Maybe, yeah. And then, one I did like the look of, which is what I've been saying and stood under this for elections, is prioritising local people with housing rather than people coming from abroad.
Well, I have to say that I almost enticed a European, it's a smaller party to rejoin the EU because it was going centre right, and
they'll be back in it, yeah.
You know, to rejoin because they would be amongst friends, real friends at the moment. That's the way that it's moving. So, the last one, constitutional reform. Leave the European Convention of Human Rights. Yes.
Yeah.
That's a defo. Commence reform of the House of Lords. Yeah. It's
not the way they want to do it.
Not the way that they want to do it. But yes, it's right to bring up the question. Okay.
Sack them.
Yeah, but we don't want another chamber where they're all elected, although we're doubling the problem we've already got.
Yep. Commence reform of the civil service. That's an absolute definite.
That's the biggest.
Get them back to work. That's what I say.
No. Reform.
No, that's the problem. Sack them all.
They want to commence reform of the postal voting system. That's an absolute.
Absolute.
Yeah.
That's one of my absolute pet hates.
Tell me some negatives.
I may as well change the voting system.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think they are saying that too, but again, I'm not too sure what type of system of proportional representation they're going for.
Well, there are 7 systems, Mark, so you can choose any of them.
Yeah, we've got to be very careful with this, you see, because what will happen is this might favour the smaller parties, and there's more actual left-wing smaller parties, so we could end up in a real bad situation with this, but something's got to change with it. Like, it can't stay like this.
Nothing will change in this country until you change the voting system.
Okay, so here's the costing, which I will sum up. In the policy areas, economy, personal, economy, business, we're talking 88 billion is the cost. NHS pledges, 17 billion. Policy pledges, 3 billion. Justice pledges, 2 billion. Education pledges, 5 billion. Defence and veterans pledges, 14 billion. Children and families pledges, 8 billion. Agricultural pledges, 2 billion. And fishing, I know we didn't speak about this, but fishing and coastal communities pledges, 2 billion. The total cost to the economy would be 141 billion, which is chicken feed. Right?
It is, but I'm not going to take too much from it again from all these figures because they never add up in the end. But I'm just going to go on what I see and what they want to do.
Okay.
And this is far better than anything I've seen before from any established party. Like,
well,
I've got a chance of winning some seats.
I've not seen any details like that in Labour. I've not seen it in the Conservatives. All I see are the Conservatives attacking Labour. I've not seen.
Conservatives are finished. End of.
Yeah,
they can't really promote themselves, can they? Because they're done.
No, they're done. They're finished. Yeah. The busted flood gone. Finished.
Okay. Well, Trevor, all those pledges that you are standing for, we applaud. There are some that we would question, and Statsman has already passed comments on some of those things, but we can agree to disagree on some of them. But in fine, we quite like what we're hearing, and there's nothing there not to like. Stats, would you agree?
Yeah, look, you've got to negotiate a little bit. No one's going to have a whole manifesto that every person agrees with every single piece of. I'll be honest.
That at the weekend.
This is probably the closest you're going to get.
I totally agree.
So far.
Well, this
And when they keep saying, if we can just add this before I forget that, when they keep saying, you're far right, you're far right, you're far right. No, we're not. We're just right.
that's right.
I myself, I'd probably go a little bit. Some people are calling this, I don't know, not extreme, but a lot more out there than normal. I'd actually go a lot further than this on some of these issues. Some of them are great. Some of them don't go far enough.
But they
Maybe some
open
of them
the
go a little bit
doors,
too far,
Mark.
but they do. This is by far better than any of the other guff we've seen.
Oh, yeah.
Let's face it.
They open the doors, and I've no doubt. All right, so, well, there you go. That's our take on the reform, and it generally gets a thumbs up, sir.
It's very encouraging, Trev. I tell you what, I bet you're happy with this, aren't you, mate?
I'm very happy with it, Mark. I really am happy with it. And it's all right saying, well, you can't promise this, you can promise. I mean, when you're out of government and all this, that you can promise what you want to promise. But it's promised, it's common sense, it's bringing the country back together again, Mark.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. That's what the establishment don't want. And
That's right.
bringing the country back together.
Indeed.
Common sense policies, vote reform.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, that's the end of the podcast.
Oh, no,
And-
it's not. Oh, no, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
Well, what are you going to do
Don't
about
you
it?
start getting bossy. I've got a couple of things to say here.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't want you butting in again.
That's it. He's muted.
Oh, he's not been muted for a while, has he? Well, I think he's saying vote Gazelle for PM in 2029. Is that what he was saying? I think it was, wasn't it? Well, I'll say it.
Wait a minute, because
Gazelle.
I'm muted. Oh, there, I'm unmuted now, right? Well, I want to just say, going back onto the